brought to you by our friends of the British Council. Hey everybody, Matt McCarthy for Rugby Wrap-Up, back here at the Fantasy Sports Network, Studio 34 here in New York City. And we've got our AFYA Sports Training Session chat with Mr. James Wade, a.k.a. Wadey, head coach of Oxford University Blues. James, welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you.
You're in a storied facility, from what I understand.
Well, I'm sat in the pavilion at Oxford University. And I don't know if you can see behind me, there's quite a few pictures of all the teams that played since 1869.
Did you say 1869?
Yeah. There's a fair bit of history in this room.
Wow, that is incredible. And you've got a fair bit of history on your resume. I'm going to read this through so the folks at home get a feel for what you're all about, actually. You're a big deal. Sale Sharks for 10 years. Wasps for 10 years. You coached for the Scottish national team, despite being a Welshman, for 4 years. You did some sessions with the Russians, which you can't talk about. And you're involved in the Athlete Factory with Phil Greening, who is basically Mike Friday's right-hand thug. And I'll say that to you, Phil, right to your face. You're also working with beautiful Ben Wood at AFYA Sports Training. Can you tell me about the AFYA Sports Training?
Yeah, well, I met Ben a couple of years ago now, and he had this sort of vision that he wanted to help develop sport for young athletes in the area and nationally now, and that's what we're trying to do. We bring in international athletes to work with youngsters between the ages of 13 and 16, 17, to develop them in all areas. I don't know, AFYA means health and well-being in Swahili, and that's the main focus of where we're coming from for young athletes. So it's been pretty successful up to now. We do multi-sports for small children as well, just to get them interested in sport and get them to have a good time and get them up and active. But like I say, we're trying to centralise things and look to how we can develop all sports, netball, rugby, hockey, athletics, cycling, with the expertise that we've got within AFYA. So, yeah, it's going pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, so it's not just a rugby thing. You guys are basically helping promote well-being and fitness for kids, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm the rugby. I sort of concentrate on the rugby, but we've got some great people on board with regards to other sports and strength and conditioning specialists like Scott Pearson, who used to work for the English Institute of Sport, and Sale Sharks. I knew him from there. So, yeah. And
Pearson, I think, coached what? 8 Olympic gold medal winners?
I think it was 8. I know it's a lot, but I'm pretty sure it's 8. Yeah, he knows his stuff, and it's people like that we want to interact with these young athletes that we've got, and hopefully pass on his expertise to them to help them develop to athletes of the future.
All right. Well, I know that you work with players of all ages. You help develop and define them, or refine them, rather. How can I finally make the Ireland team? Because I'm not getting any action with Team USA. They've finally given up on me, and I am a plastic patty. Although, because I can Photoshop Greening and Mike Friday and Chris Brown in a lot of situations, they might give me a crack at the Sevens team. What would you do for somebody like me?
What would I do for something like you? I'd look at more of a team manager's role, I think. I think that you could.
Fair enough.
You manage the team very well. But I think these days, dealing with these young lads, I watched England play Wales at under-20s on Friday night up in Newcastle. And the one thing I'd say is these young lads these days are enormous men, just a different breed at the moment. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to deal with them, I would suggest.
So we met in Philadelphia when your Oxford University Blues went on a barnstorming tour, crushing everybody over here. And if it wasn't by a score, it was just sucking the life out of them, including Brian Murphy's Old Blue, Josh Smith's Mystic River, Yale, Harvard, and then in the opening act for the Newcastle versus Saracens match, here on American soil, you guys suck the life out of our collegiate All-Americans. And it just goes to show that a good coach can do a lot of things. But you're coaching a bunch of smart kids over there, right? So I got one question for you. If a plane crashes on the border of Wales and Scotland. Where do they bury the survivors?
Wales.
Well, actually, you guys over at Oxford aren't that smart. And although I can't get into that facility unless I'm cleaning the toilets or sweeping or something, I got all your guys, including Kearns and all the big boys over there on that same question.
Yeah, you met the lot. The boys had a great time over there.
Yeah,
I think that it was a trip of a lifetime, to be honest. I think your sports facilities blew us away, but also the generosity of the people. The guys at Harvard and Yale were just amazing.
Well, okay, that's all true, and you guys were amazing, but I got to get back to the answer to that question. First of all, you don't bury survivors, and secondly, Wales doesn't border Scotland.
Yeah, you got me.
And you're a Welshman. You know that doesn't.
Nice one.
You don't border Scotland.
Nice one.
All right.
It's late for me.
I know.
I'm normally in bed at 9 o'clock.
I know. All right. So I'm going to wake you up. We had our Six Nations panel. We're all over it. With George Hook, Steve Lewis, Martin Pengelly, and Peter Jackson. But you're a Welshman. I got to ask you about the try.
Of course it was a try. The only person that didn't think it was a try was someone sat in a room. I think he was in New Zealand, wasn't he? Yeah, it was definitely a try. And it was nice to see that even Clyde Woodward and Johnny Wilkinson thought it was a try. And Matt Dawson on Radio 5 thought it was a try. And everybody thought it was a try apart from one person. So unfortunately, it didn't go on the score sheet, but I was pretty impressed with the Welsh anyway.
Coach, we got to cut it there. I'm getting yelled at by the guys down in the booth. Thanks again for calling in.
No problem. Thank you.
On that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with our Community Corner segment brought to you by Friends of the British Council with Mr. Mark Patterson.
I'm Phil Greening, and I'm the coach of the USA Sevens team, and you're watching Rugby Wrap Up.
So Mike Friday's no longer the coach?
No, I'm the main guy.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
Hey everybody, Matt McCarthy back here at Studio 34, the Fantasy Sports Network. We have our Community Corner segment brought to you by Friends of the British Council with Mr. Mark Patterson. Mark, why are you on our show?
Well, I thought it was for my good looks, but apparently it's not. So I was one of the lucky ones who were able to win the coaching scholarship from Friends of the British Council over to go to London for Premiership Rugby, and I'm really excited about going on this trip. I started my rugby journey in 1991 at Appalachian State, and then I went through, graduated, went to Kansas City and played, went to Johnson City, Tennessee and played, and then 1995 ended up down to Miami where I played for the Miami Rugby Club and then moved to Boca Raton Rugby. My sons were getting a little bit older. I have two boys, Jackson and Cooper, and then I started to look at their rugby future, and I knew that my glory days in rugby were kind of behind me by then. So then I started to put a plan together in order to put a youth rugby component. At the time, there was only 4 youth rugby clubs in Florida. This was back in 2011, and so in 2012 we started the Boca Raton Youth Rugby Club, and youth is from 6 years old all the way up through high school.
You said 6 through high school?
Yes, 6 years old through middle school, and then Florida always had a high school rugby component, which comprised of about 20 to 25 teams on any given year, but only they had 3 teams or 4 teams that were middle school and below, and so we wanted to start a program at my men's club, Boca Raton Rugby Club. So we started that program, and it went well. We won the state championship for the U14s in 2012, and then I moved locally to a town called Wellington. So I partnered with another guy named Alan Lawson, and we started the Wellington Wizards Youth Rugby Club. And that first year, we started with 23 players, and with middle school and elementary school. And now we're up to 130 players, U9, U11, U13.
So you went
U15,
So you went from 23 to 139
in 4 years.
Wow,
yeah.
That's incredible.
It's been crazy, and a lot of people have asked me, how have you been able to expand? And we recruit about 75% from our tackle football league in town, and that has really helped us out. We started our girls side too, so we have a high school girls side. We're looking to to make a lot of headway this year through our 17 and 19 program.
All right, hold on. I got to cut you there because I'm getting yelled at in the headset. We only have a minute and a half left. So I want to know about the video that you made.
Okay. I had this whole script laid out, and I had my two kids. One was holding my phone for the camera. Another was holding the script. And it was like herding cats. And I did it about 10 times. My 9-year-old was trying to, I said, just move the page, And it took about 30 takes, but I finally got it done. And then I sent it off, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness that's done. And then I forgot about it.
Well, it worked. It worked, right?
Yes, it worked a lot,
You're going over there. What's one thing that you want to try to take back or learn?
I want to take back more of a comprehensive profile about building a club, what it takes, what's been successful in their eyes. They have a lot of rugby is basically that's the home of the sport. And so I'm looking at bringing some things back that I can carry over to not only help younger clubs grow, but also help my clubs now, my Wellington Wizards, grow to be able to encompass the whole city and have a buy-in from not only the rugby community, but also the mayor and the rest of the organization in the cities as well as around the state.
Awesome. We got to leave you on that note, but I just want to congratulate you on being one of the Premiership Rugby American Series scholarship winners, brought to you by Friends of the British Council and Premiership Rugby, Mr. Mark Patterson. Folks, if you have any stories out there about a fan, a player, a coach, a team that you think might be worthy of a community corner piece, brought to you by Friends of the British Council, please send them to info@rugbywrapup.com. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. Matt McCarthy for Rugby Wrap Up from the Studio 34 Fantasy Sports Network here in New York City, signing off.